Tonight, we have breaking news as we come on the air involving President Trump and the Jeffrey Epstein case. The Justice Department spending hours today meeting with Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell. So what's behind this meeting? Also breaking tonight, just outside New York City, the ambush, an officer shot in the face. And in Ohio, the other ambush, and we have just learned tonight, an officer has now died. First this evening, the highly unusual meeting, the Deputy Attorney General going to meet with Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell. The meeting today lasting 6 hours. She's serving 20 years for sex trafficking. So what do both sides want out of this meeting? And it comes amid pressure on the White House to release the Epstein files. Also tonight, professional wrestling icon Hulk Hogan has died. Paramedics responding to calls of cardiac arrest. Rocketing to fame in the 1980s in wrestling and in the movies, and the scandals outside the ring, including what he said about race. Tonight, his complicated legacy as fans now pay tribute. Tonight, the dangerous, life-threatening heat. 140 million Americans under extreme heat alerts. In New York City, it will soon feel like 105. Philadelphia, 106. Washington, D.C. will feel like 109 degrees. Lee Goldberg standing by. Tonight, the alarming attacks on police outside New York City. An officer has been shot in the face. Also, that disturbing ambush in Ohio. And moments ago, we have learned one of the officers has now died. Tonight, 24 hours after Brian Kohberger was sentenced to life in prison, the families of those Idaho college students have now learned horrific new details about how their loved ones were killed. One student stabbed more than 50 times, many of them defensive wounds. She was fighting back. The extraordinary moment at the Federal Reserve Building playing out late today in front of the cameras. President Trump and the Federal Reserve Chair amid the president's pressure on Jerome Powell to bring down rates. The sudden move by the president, the numbers he pulled out. Jerome Powell then shooting them down. Tonight, the daring rescue in rough waters off the East Coast as a boat slams into the rocks. And tonight here, we remember a beloved Grammy-winning musician. Just a few notes, and you'll know the song. Tonight, the music of Chuck Mangione.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and we begin tonight here with President Trump and the uproar over the Jeffrey Epstein files. Tonight, we have new reporting here on this very rare visit today. The Justice Department's second in command traveling to Florida to meet with Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, who is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for sex trafficking. So tonight here, what do both sides want out of this meeting? Our chief investigative correspondent, Katersky, is in Florida where this meeting took place. We're told it lasted 6 hours. Aaron tonight, leading us off.
Tonight, as the White House struggles to contain the uproar over the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche traveling to Tallahassee to meet with Epstein's one-time companion, Ghislaine Maxwell, who's serving a 20-year prison sentence for sex trafficking Epstein's victims.
Do you have anything to say today?
The meeting with the convicted sex offender, a highly unusual move by the Deputy Attorney General, who until recently was President Trump's personal lawyer. Blanche has said he wanted to ask Maxwell if she has, quote, information about anyone who has committed crimes against victims. For her part, Epstein's enabler wants to get out of prison. Her lawyer's arriving today.
We're looking forward to a productive day.
Maxwell has faced questions for more than a decade.
Ask you about all the allegations that have come out, Ghislaine.
Happy New Year.
Maxwell and Epstein both socialized with Trump, and when she was arrested in 2020, the president said he wished her well.
Mr. President, Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested on allegations of child sex trafficking. Why would you wish such a person well?
First of all, I don't know that, but I do know that.
She has. She's been arrested for that.
Her
you know that.
friend or boyfriend,
Epstein,
was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's now in jail. Yeah, I wish her well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well. Good luck.
At her sentencing, the judge said Maxwell was instrumental in the abuse of several underage girls by Epstein, adding she herself participated in some of the abuse. Today, she met behind closed doors with the Deputy Attorney General for more than 6 hours.
Well, she answered all the questions and answered them honestly. There were a lot of questions, and we went all day, and she answered every one of them. She never just said, I'm not going to answer, never declined.
Maxwell has also been subpoenaed by the Republican-led House Oversight Committee, though some wonder why she should be trusted.
Is she a credible witness? I mean, this is a person who's been sentenced to many, many years in prison for terrible, unspeakable conspiratorial acts and acts against innocent young people. I mean, Can we trust what she's going to say?
It comes as the Wall Street Journal reports that back in May, Attorney General Pam Bondi told the president his name was mentioned multiple times in the files, along with other high-profile people. Days before the article was published, ABC's Catherine Falders asking Trump,
did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing. And in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen.
The Journal notes being named in the files is not evidence of wrongdoing. When Epstein was arrested in 2019, Trump said they had a falling out and had not spoken in 15 years. Today, as the Deputy Attorney General met with Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, some Senate Republicans demanding the Justice Department release the full Epstein files.
I want all the information out.
Just put everything out, make it as transparent as you can.
Release the damn files.
And tonight, David, sources tell ABC News it was Ghislaine Maxwell who asked for the meeting here today with the Deputy Attorney General. It's still not clear what questions he asked or what responses she gave. But remember, David, ultimately, she wants to get out of prison. David?
Aaron Katersky leading us off from Tallahassee, where this meeting took place today. Aaron, thank you. Now to the death of wrestling icon Hulk Hogan, who rocketed to fame in the 1980s, in the ring, transforming the wrestling industry, then appearing in the movies, in recent years taking a political stand. But there were scandals, too, outside the ring, including what he said about race. Tonight, his complicated legacy as fans now pay tribute. Here's Whit Johnson.
Hulk Hogan is in the building! He was an American sports and entertainment icon.
Hulk Hogan now stands up with a Sheik and Ramsey.
Hulk Hogan with that signature horseshoe mustache, bleach blonde hair, and bandana.
Hulk Hogan, he drops a big leg on him!
Helping to transform professional wrestling into a multi-billion-dollar global phenomenon. Hulk Hogan was born Terry Bollea, discovered at a gym in Tampa. At 6'7", 320 pounds, he'd take the name Hulk from the Incredible Hulk, joining the famed World Wrestling Federation in 1983, and facing the greats from Andre the Giant to The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Hogan responding to the question he was so often asked, is wrestling fake?
Fake implies that the punches don't hurt and you never get injured, and the people that have given up their bodies and actually their personal lives and everything, it's fake, and it's not. It's real as it gets.
Later starring in movies like Rocky III alongside Sylvester Stallone. In recent years, adding his celebrity to politics, endorsing then-candidate Donald Trump at the 2024 Republican National Convention.
Let Trumpomania rule again! Let Trumpomania make America great again!
But his life outside the ring at times seemed more challenging than inside. He admitted to steroid use. He was heard using a racial slur in audio secretly recorded, later sitting down with ABC asking the public for forgiveness.
If everybody at their lowest point was judged on one thing they said, it'd be a sad world. People get better every day. People get better.
Hulk Hogan died this morning after suffering cardiac arrest in his Clearwater, Florida home at the age of 71.
The image that you want to relate to other people can be either a positive or a negative one. For me, I would like to go from the positive aspect of trying to tell people to clean up their act and do the right type of things.
And David, tonight the tributes have been pouring in. Sylvester Stallone writing online, "My heart breaks." And President Donald Trump calling Hulk Hogan strong, tough, smart, but with the biggest heart. David?
Whit Johnson with us here tonight. Whit, we appreciate it. Now to the dangerous and life-threatening heat. More than 140 million Americans on alert from Texas to New York to Maine. Tomorrow, New York City will feel like 105. New York City already issuing an air quality alert tonight. Philadelphia, it'll feel like 106. Washington, D.C., 109. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Kohberger of WABC, tracking it all for us. Hi, Lee.
Hey, David. Indeed, New York City next in line. By this time tomorrow, blistering heat. You can already feel the change. But for tonight, the heat is from the mid-south to the Great Lakes. Feels like over 100 from Shreveport all the way to Detroit. Look how it feels cooler in Chicago. That's because of cooling thunderstorms. In fact, this is severe thunderstorm watch just south of Chicago. The worst is away from the city. We've had damage reports near Aurora. But from Peoria all the way to Grand Rapids, a thunderstorm threat and a flash flood threat. That's in the Kansas City area. That heat, it expands to the East Coast tomorrow. Up and down the coast, it'll feel like like 105 to 110 from New York to Philly, even close to 109 in D.C. That will bring thunderstorms in the afternoon hours to the I-95 corridor, could impact the evening commute, damaging winds a possibility and heavy downpours. That will bring some brief relief to the Northeast over the weekend before another heat wave next week. The Southeast stays hot. David?
Lee Goldberg with us tonight. Lee, thank you. Next tonight here, the alarming attacks on police just outside New York City. An officer has been shot in the face. Also, the disturbing attack in Ohio. One of the officers has now died. Here's Pierre Thomas.
On New York's Long Island this morning, a Suffolk County police officer was shot in the face while investigating the discovery of a dead body. The suspect, 48-year-old Neves Reyes, is accused of killing the other man who was found in the brush. When police tried executing a search warrant, they say Reyes fired multiple shots from inside the home, hitting the officer who is expected to recover. The incident comes after 3 officers were shot in Lorain, Ohio Wednesday, ambushed with a barrage of gunfire while they were simply trying to have lunch.
We have shots fired. There's no extension. And everybody.
Officers Philip Wagner and Peter Gale were in separate cruisers parked on a dead-end street, eating pizza, when the suspect opened fire with a high-powered rifle. Officer Wagner later dying of his injuries.
He was laying in wait.
Responding law enforcement met with a hail of gunfire. A third officer, Brett Payne, also shot. And the suspect, identified as 28-year-old Michael Joseph Parker, killed at the scene. Video showing 2 rifles amid the contents of the suspect's silver sedan. Police say they also found handguns, loaded magazines, and a significant quantity of homemade explosives inside. Residents stunned.
It's crazy. It's a dangerous world we live in.
According to the Fraternal Order of Police, there have been 36 ambush attacks on law enforcement so far this year. 45 officers shot, 8 killed. Tonight, we add one more name to the fallen. David?
Pierre Thomas on this in Washington. Pierre, thank you. Next tonight here, just 24 hours after Brian Kohberger was sentenced to life in prison for the Idaho college murders. Tonight, the families of those victims have now learned horrific new details about how their loved ones were killed. Here's Kana Whitworth.
Just 24 hours after those searing statements from the victims of Brian Kohberger.
He took them from me, my friends, my people who felt like my home.
A new mugshot as the convicted killer starts life behind bars in this maximum security prison. Officials now revealing a trove of chilling details about the murders. One of those students, 20-year-old Xana Kernodle, found with more than 50 stab wounds, mostly defensive. And according to Moscow's former police chief, Kaylee Gonzalez fought back too.
I want your perspective on the fight that it sounds like both Xana Kernodle and Kaylee Gonzalez put up.
I think it was a fight for their life.
Documents also show a surviving roommate told police weeks earlier that Kaylee saw an unknown male outside the house staring at her. And around the time of the murders, a fellow teaching assistant of Kohberger's remembered seeing injuries on his face and hands. When asked what happened, Kohberger said he'd been in a car accident. And David, after those heartbreaking moments in court yesterday, those families are now learning brutal new details. But they're still left with the question of why. Why did he target those students in that house? David?
Kana Whitworth. Kana, thank you. Now to the extraordinary moment playing out at the Federal Reserve Building late today in front of cameras. President Trump and the Federal Reserve Chair amid the president's continuing pressure on Jerome Powell to bring rates down. Today, the sudden move by the president, the numbers he pulled out, Jerome Powell then reading them in real time and shooting them down. Here's Mary Bruce.
Tonight, an extraordinary scene at the Federal Reserve as President Trump ramps up his effort to pressure Fed Chair Jerome Powell to lower interest rates. Trump making a rare visit to the Fed to challenge Powell on the building's multi-billion-dollar renovation. With cameras rolling, Trump pulling out a sheet of paper, trying to surprise the Fed chair with a new price tag for the project. But Powell telling the president that number factors in construction that was completed 5 years ago.
It looks like it's about $3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed.
Yeah, it just came out.
Our notes had it about 3.1 as well.
3.1.
3.2. This came from us?
Yes. I don't know who does that.
You're including the Martin renovation. You just added
our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
It's part of the overall work.
It's not new.
So we're going to take a look.
But reporters then asking,
as a real estate developer, what would you do with a project manager who would be over budget?
Generally speaking, what would I do? I'd fire him.
Trump making it clear what he's really after.
Are there things the chairman can say to you today that would make you back off some of the earlier criticism?
Well, I'd love him to lower interest rates. But other than that, what can I tell you?
Now, Trump himself appointed Jerome Powell. Asked today why he doesn't just fire him, Trump said he doesn't think it's necessary, saying when it comes to lowering interest rates, he believes Powell is, quote, going to do the right thing. David.
All right, Mary Bruce at the White House again tonight. Thank you, Mary. Overseas tonight, U.S. negotiators walking out of the Gaza ceasefire talks, saying Hamas has failed to act in good faith, even as Gaza's hunger crisis worsens. The World Health Organization tonight saying nearly 30,000 children under 5 are now malnourished. ABC News was inside the children's ward of a hospital in central Gaza. Many of the children are so weak, they're struggling to move. Tonight, the crisis leading French President Emmanuel Macron to announce that France will recognize the state of Palestine. Prime Minister Netanyahu strongly condemning the move tonight. When we come back here, the unruly passenger trying to rush the cockpit just 20 minutes after takeoff, and the grandmother, an Army veteran who jumped in, holding the passenger down. And the images tonight, the daring rescue in rough waters right off the East Coast, the boat slamming into the rocks, 10 people on board. How they saved them here in a moment. Tonight, a grandmother, an Army veteran, restraining a woman allegedly trying to storm the cockpit. It happened on a Delta flight from Atlanta to Tucson. It happened about 20 minutes into the flight. The pilot returning to Atlanta, where authorities were waiting. Tonight, the daring rescue of 10 people trapped on a sailboat in rough waters in Avalon, New Jersey. Strong winds slamming a boat right into the rocks. 2 sailing instructors and 8 teenagers were on board. Everyone was wearing life jackets, jumping into the water. 40 lifeguards and first responders getting everyone out of those rough waters. Incredible. When we come back here tonight, the hiker attacked by a bear. She called 911 for help herself in the attack. And remembering a musician who helped define the smooth sounds of the 70s and 80s, and you'll definitely know his music. To the index tonight, a hiker was mauled by a brown bear in Anchorage, Alaska. She called 911 herself. Authorities say she was 2 miles up the Dome Trail when the bear attacked. She was badly injured. She stayed on the phone until help arrived. She's now in stable condition. Wildlife officials have not located the bear. When we come back here tonight, the beloved musician with so many of his songs, it takes just a note or two for you to remember them in a moment. Finally tonight here, remembering American jazz musician Chuck Mangione. Chuck Mangione's Feel So Good was inescapable. It played everywhere. One of the biggest pop jazz tracks of all time. The mellow sound of his flugelhorn and his distinctive fedora helped define the music of the 70s and 80s. Chuck Mangione proving he did not need lyrics to make a hit. Feel So Good was nominated for Record of the Year at the Grammys. That album, second only to the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack on the Billboard 200 back in 1978. His crossover sound fusing elements of disco, pop, and mainstream jazz, helping to create what would be termed as smooth jazz. He would win 2 Grammys, one of them for his hit, The Children of Sanchez. His song Chase the Clouds Away at the 1976 Olympic Games in Montreal. Four years later, he would write the music for the 1980 Winter Games in Lake Placid. Performing Give It All You Got. Chuck Mangione was born and raised in Rochester, New York, and would often say he picked up the trumpet at age 10 after seeing the Kirk Douglas film Young Man with a Horn, and later would discover the flugelhorn and become perhaps its most famous player. Tonight, Chuck Mangione has died at the age of 84. Chuck Mangione, in his own words.
I think our music, instrumental music especially, allows people to escape. It's a place to use your imagination and get into it, and really allows you in a day when everybody's talking at everybody all the time, to really use your imagination and get lost in the feeling of it all.
He said he fell in love with music at 8 years old. What a gift for the rest of us. I'm David Muir. Good night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the third year in a row.